In this video right here, we'll be comparing these two cameras, the Sony ZV-E1 and the Sony ZV-E10. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which of them is the perfect camera for you and why. Alright, so before we dive into the specs and take a look at what each of these cameras has to offer, what's under the hood, you know, then let's take a quick look at the build quality and see what these cameras have in common. Now, both of them are very small. The ZV-E10 is obviously a little bit smaller. However, the ZV-E1, it's by far the smallest full-frame camera I've ever held, and I think it's also the smallest full-frame camera on the market. It's incredible how small this is compared to like everything that is packed inside. We'll get to that in a second, you know. Both of them offer a very minimalistic design, making the operation very foolproof. That means that it's really easy to operate both of them. Both also has a button right here that allows you to quickly switch between photo, video, and S&Q. I like that a lot. However, the ZV-E1 has a little bit like, you can go gung gung. Does that mean anything to you? You can just switch it from one, while on the ZV-E10 you click and then it goes like in a loop. But all in all, as you can see, they're incredibly similar. The ZV-E1 offers one extra button over the ZV-E10. Then both of them have a headphone jack, audio jack, USB-C connection, and HDMI. And as you can see too, both of them are equipped with a proper flip screen like this, so you can flip it like all the way around, making vlogging super seamless and very like, I like that a whole lot. They're also both equipped with a little zoom lever right here, and both of them allows you to do this like clear image zoom, so you can like in 4K footage zoom into 1.5x, essentially allowing you to get a slight zoom on lenses that you wouldn't be able to zoom otherwise. Really cool. Now, one big difference though is that the ZV-E1 offers a bigger battery. You can see it right here, which I appreciate a whole lot because you don't really have to carry around with you a whole lot of batteries, while you know the ZV-E10 has these smaller batteries. It's hard holding all the cameras in my hand here, but it has like one of this smaller battery right here. These they're all right, but you need to carry quite a few with you when you go out shooting when you have this. And on the top of both of them, you can see an inbuilt 3-capsule mic. It's actually pretty great. I like it a whole lot. The only difference is that the ZV-E1 has an upgraded version of it, which is pretty nice. And then obviously, as on all Sony cameras, they both have the Sony E mount, so you can use like all of the Sony lenses, both full frame and the APS-C lenses on both of the cameras. So it offers quite a big variety of lenses that you can use on both cameras. Really like that with Sony. Alright, so now that you've seen the difference in the build quality, or like the similarities I should probably say, then let's quickly take a look at the most important specs these cameras have and see what each one is actually capable of. So the ZV-E10 has a 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensor with a video resolution up to 4K 30 frames per second. It's also worth to note that it's a 8-bit footage. And if you want to get that creamy super slow motion, 120 frames per second, you can do that in full HD. Now, like all Sony cameras nowadays, it does offer an advanced autofocus technology, including real-time autofocus and real-time tracking, which you know can help you keep your subject in focus even when they are moving around. It has a wide range of ISO sensitivity. However, if you crank it up too high, it's gonna get pretty noisy. It also offers a range of creative filters and AI effects that have become standard for the ZV cameras. We're talking things like skin softening, background defocus, and product showcase, to name a few. And it also gives you a range of different picture profiles that you can film in. Now, the ZV-E1 on the other hand has a 12 megapixel back illuminated full frame sensor, and you know it's the same sensor the Sony a7S III, which is known for being like one of the best in the game. It's incredible what that camera can film, and this has it, you know. Now you can film 4K 10-bit footage up to 60 frames per second without a crop. A little bit later in the summer, they will make a firmware update that will allow us to get 120 frames per second 4K 10-bit footage with this little camera right there. Ain't that pretty sick? The autofocus the ZV-E1 offers is the next generation like autofocus that is powered by AI. It basically means that the camera can now recognize and map out where the subject is and know where the eyes are, even when the subject turns around and or has its face covered. That is pretty insane. It just makes, you know, keeping your subject in focus piece of cake. Plus, there are a few other cool new features within the autofocus that I won't get into in this video right here. Just like the ZV-E10, the ZV-E1 also offers a range of different creative filters and AI effects. You can find all the same one as on the ZV-E10, plus a few new ones. My favorite one of those has to be this like auto framing effect. It's pretty sick. It basically allows you to keep your like subject wherever you want in the frame, and the camera punches in a little bit and then it keeps it there. And this I find really useful, especially when I'm going totally handheld, because it makes pretty stable shot. Because you can also put the camera on the tripod and make it like follow you around, so it feels like another person is filming the video and following you, but it's actually just on a tripod. Pretty smart and neat in my opinion. And then it has a few other ones too. The ISO performance is also top notch, and basically it's a remarkable camera, especially if considered, you know, the size of it. So the biggest difference is obviously the sensor. One of the cameras is equipped with an incredible full-frame sensor, while the other one, it has a slightly old APS-C sensor. Now with all that being said though, let's just for the fun of it throw up 2 clips side by side from each one of the cameras, and let's see if you can spot the difference and tell me which one is which. If you said that the right side was a brand new ZV-E1, then my friend, you were totally right. And you win the prize. A good prize. It's a prize of honor. By the way, all of the clips I've been throwing off from both of the cameras have been filmed with no picture profile. Just standard color straight out of the camera. And I personally think like the biggest telltale sign is the higher dynamic range the ZV-E1 offers, plus the full frame sensor is also capable of producing more bokeh if you stack it with a low aperture lens. Plus, you know, the image quality, it just looks all around a little bit better. And the 10-bit footage, it also allows you to push the colors more around if like you're into color grading and stuff like that. Speaking about color grading, before we touch on one important thing regarding exactly that subject, then I just want to say that this video is not sponsored at all. Yes, you're correctly, it's not sponsored. However, all of the music and sound effects comes from Artlist. I've been getting like my music there for years. I absolutely love them. And in the description, you can find the link. If you use it, I get a little bit of a kickback. That really helps me keeping these videos coming and making just more and better content for you. Plus, you get 2 months extra of the yearly subscription. So it's like a win-win situation for both of us. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Although both these cameras are capable of taking photos, I would not recommend them for like strictly photography or photography reasons, mainly because of the viewfinder, or like lack of, I should probably say. As you can see, they don't have a viewfinder, which makes them super small. And when it comes to photography, I rely a whole lot on the viewfinder. I like to use it a whole lot. I'm always, you know, looking through it and taking my shots like that. However, you can definitely, of course, snap photos with both of the cameras. Secondly, some people have been like reporting about overheating issues with the ZV-E1. Personally, I have not experienced it. Maybe it's because I live in a cold place, but I did try to film with it for over 40 minutes in 4K, 25 frames per second, used as a B cam, and like no overheating issues there. But in the future, I'll definitely do a full test on it. And the ZV-E10, I don't think I've had any big problems with it on overheating, you know, before. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that I know a Sony APS-C camera quite well. I more or less built my entire career up on just a camera like that, and put in way over 10,000 hours on both photos and videos with the Sony APS-C sensor, whether it's like the Sony a6300, the a6400, or the Sony ZV-E10. And one place I think those cameras isn't like doing a really good job is when you like start to film in S-Log. I just think it doesn't look that good. I'm not totally sure like what it is, but it just turns out to look pretty garbage, if I can say that. So when I want to color grade my videos when I'm filming with a Sony APS-C, I always film in Cine 4, and that turns out like really good and easy to use, and like it looks really good. The color comes out nice. And just for the fun of it, here you can see the difference between the 2 cameras. Both footage are shot in S-Log 3, allowing us to get the maximum amount of dynamic range and, you know, color grade the footage to our liking. And the ZV-E1 just smashes the ZV-E10 here. Now, both of these cameras were specifically designed for vlogging and content creation in mind. But the big question is obviously, which one of these cameras should you choose? Which one is perfect for you and why? Well, it's pretty obvious the ZV-E1 is a much better camera in like every aspect except, you know, the size, if you really want your camera to be as small as you possibly can. Matter of fact, I'm just so incredibly impressed by the performance of this small little camera. And one thing I haven't really touched on is like basically with this camera, they've taken the best part from the ZV-E lineup and then the best part from the cinema cameras and the best part from the full frame cameras and put it into this little camera right here. So it is actually pretty good. However, the Sony ZV-E10, it's not a bad camera at all. And it is also a lot cheaper. So if you're on a tight budget or you're just starting out and you need a little camera, then the Sony ZV-E10 is definitely a camera to consider. Now, if you want to see my full in-depth review about the Sony ZV-E1, then by all means click this video right here.